So, hi, Fabiola. Thank you for joining me on Key Conversations. This is coming up for event number 6. How are you feeling about it?
About event number 6, I'm really excited, looking forward to it. Thank you for inviting me to this key conversation. I'm also very excited about this one. So my first key conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, the reason for the key conversations, to anyone who's going to watch this video afterwards, is that it's just an insight into the speakers who are showing up on the night and who I'm happy to have as speakers representing the Speakers Initiates. And again, for those who aren't familiar with what the Speakers Initiates is about, it's a speakers platform, but it's also designed for members of the community to feel included and to come along and enjoy a night where they get to hear some awesome speakers like Fabiola, for example, and get to enjoy what it's like to be around a community of people who are really welcoming and inclusive and want to share in just really positive conversations. And I guess the key conversation we're having today is so that anyone listening to the video has a chance to get to know Fabiola, who is one of my founding members and also one of the few speakers that's really taken this on board to step up. And this is Fabiola's third opportunity to take to the platform to speak. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how she delivers her message. So on that note, Fabiola, I've got a couple of questions for you. And forgive me, I don't have my glasses on, anybody, so I'll have to keep flipping them on so I can see the messages that Fabiola and I have talked about. So I've got the questions ready. So the first one is, what is it you're passionate about right now?
Well, thank you for the question. I think this is a very interesting question because of the stress on right now. Yes, we're passionate about many things in life, and as we travel through life, our passions change from one thing to another. Right now, I'm focusing on diversity and inclusion. That's one of my main focuses, and I'm also focusing on women. And I've been doing this work, so this has been a journey for me. As you can hear, my beautiful accent. So English is not my first language. I'm originally from Venezuela, so I'm a migrant, and I have experienced, firsthand, all of the ups and downs of moving into a new country. So I'm a migrant. I'm a professional woman that has a history, from I come from, and I'm also a woman. And I think that's a very interesting mix when it comes to being a migrant. I found that for whatever reason, and this is purely anecdotally.
Yeah, that's a good word.
So I don't have hard data on these, but from what I've seen, it's harder for migrant women than for men to find jobs and to understand how the Australian market works. Could be quite challenging. And if we don't have anybody to help us through that journey, it could be a very frustrating journey, and it could be heartbreaking because it really affects your self-confidence and your self-belief, and even challenges your own identity.
Absolutely.
So on that, what am I passionate about right now is empowering professional migrant women to find professional jobs here.
Awesome.
In Australia, in Melbourne in particular. And I've been working for a few months now in this mentoring group where we get women from all these different places to join us and to practice and to network and to understand what is needed when it comes to the Australian job market.
Excellent. Wow, that's amazing. And it's fantastic that you've taken that initiative to step up and to help be a spokesperson for people that just may not have the confidence to do so, or even probably even understand just fitting in with the Australian way of life and what the networking is like and what that means. And I guess that's why your subject matter is so relevant to the presentation that we're doing in November. And for those listening, the Speakers Initiate's Key Talks Inspiring Change is being hosted on November 27 at the Gowanbray Community Centre. So if you're looking for where Gowanbray is, most people have said, I don't know where that is. It's near Tullamarine, so it's not so far away. It's actually apparently only about 25 minutes from the city, so it's not too far. Perfect venue, fantastic. I guess when you walk in and you see through the windows, the view is amazing, and it's just inspiring to be there in the evenings and just watch the planes coming and going and the trains. Phenomenal little venue, but it's perfect for what we're doing. And November 27 happens to be Social Inclusion Week. And I'm really excited about that, and particularly about having Fabiola presenting in this particular event. Social Inclusion Week is a calendar event that was created by Dr. Jonathan Welch, who's the founder of Choir of Hard Knocks. And when he created this particular calendar event, it was to enable people to have more inclusive involvement in their communities. And I was really thrilled to have this event listed on that calendar. Unfortunately, Jonathan can't be with us at our particular event, but he does send his wishes, his best wishes to us, which I'm thrilled with. And to have Fabiola presenting, which is just such a perfect message in the Social Inclusion Week event for us. We are about social change, we are about social inclusion, but we're also about diversity. And Fabiola's messages are always really powerful. And I'm excited to hear what you're actually going to be talking about. So that said, I have another question for you. I'll don the glasses and here we go. Now, what do you wish you had known when you'd started out? And I take it this is to do with particularly your journey as a speaker.
Yes, all right. I'm still very new in my journey as a speaker. However, one of the things that I hope I knew when I started out is how to navigate this speaking world. However, I think I was very fortunate to have met you, and because as you mentioned before, I mean, you created this amazing space for speakers, and that has given me the opportunity to present before a real audience and to start communicating my message. And practice is develops your competency, and competency develops your confidence.
Absolutely.
And the more we talk in public, the better we get at it. So I suppose I had been very fortunate, very lucky to have had you along the way, and to have been developing all of these connections and networks through the Speakers Initiate program that you run, this series of events. It, like any new thing in life, at the beginning, it feels overwhelming. For me, it's also been very exciting, energizing. I know every time I have a talk, I work myself up. I get very anxious, but what I realized that it's all about being excited for what I'm about to do. So all that build-up of energy that could be mistaken by, for fear or anxiety or all of these negative labels that we can give. Well, I've realized that is the excitement that I feel when I'm about to share with other people,
Yeah.
and that for me is fantastic.
Yeah, and you bring such a good energy to the room as well, because I think it fits naturally with what you're doing with the migrant women project that you've got on board. Because I've noticed in the times when you've been present at the Speakers Initiates events, and you've been to most of them, you're always very engaging with everybody, and you have your network that supports you, which is really important. And certainly, as you said, you know, I think it was fortuitous that I met you, and we were happy. For those who may not know the backstory, part of what we were doing, we were already enrolled in courses, and we were, so I guess, honing our speaking skills by practicing the courses that we were doing. And we met online via one of the courses, because I'd had this idea that I wanted to do these types of events, and I just by chance noticed that Fabiola, who lives in Melbourne as well as I do, was interested in participating in this crazy idea that I had. And that's why I consider Fabiola to be one of the founding members. If it wasn't for Fabiola, I'd have been standing there by myself in a room of about 5 people, which was not going to be on my game plan. So I really wanted to expand and bring a message, not just because I wanted for our opportunity to practice, but I really wanted to hone my own message, and I wanted to feel that we could connect with a lot of people in the community, because it was about how do we create something that's positive for the community to be part of. So even though it's great for the speakers to get in and speak and present their message, and I understand totally that sense of anxiety, even though it's really nervous anxiety in a positive sense, it's still that sense of having to get up for that first time and speak in front of a room of people, probably only some of who you actually know. The rest are all strangers, and building their rapport and the ability to connect and have them want to come up and talk with you later. And I guess that's partly why we created the event. It was my silly idea that wasn't so silly after all, as it turned out, because here we are, event number 6, and we've got one more event number 7 next month. And I've found what you're mentioning, the whole idea of just being able to be somewhere in a safe environment and present your message. It is about practice, but every event that you go to, no matter where you are, is an opportunity to practice and to do better. So that was partly what was driving this. But having your energy in the room is always really well received. And I'm looking forward to this particular message, because as if it's anything like how I felt when I presented for the 3rd time, I really felt much more comfortable in myself, and felt that I actually really could just talk my message without having to try and think, did I remember all the things I wanted to say? I was really connected with the audience the 3rd time round, and that felt really good for me. And I'm wondering if that's how you'll feel on the night.
Yeah, well, we will see, right? But as you say, so one of the things that I've noticed about this process, like you just said before as well, is that you get more clear about your message every time you speak. And of course, in some way or another, if we are delivering a message, it's because we are connected to this message in one way. So I'm always reading articles, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm doing research. I try to keep myself up to date with what's going on. Again, that's what motivated me to start this mentoring group for women. And what I find is that all of that keeps feeding my message and what I want to put across. So yes, it's definitely the experience that you get speaking in front of public, and also the growth that you go through. So
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we've got time for another question. And this one will be, are there any resources that have really helped you on your journey?
Yes. Look, I am my main job is as a professional trainer, organizational trainer. Mind you, when I compare training to public speaking, I think they are two very different things.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do training on a regular basis, so I'm quite comfortable speaking in front of people. However, what really helped me moving into public speaking, I will say Toastmasters has been a great tool for me. I did participate in Toastmasters for about 2 years.
Fantastic.
And that really helped me with techniques, tools, honing my skills. Then, and Toastmasters is very technical.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from that point of view is fantastic. Then I did a lot of training in the past as well, probably 4 or 5 years ago, on how to engage audiences, adult learning, how to work the stage, how to feel comfortable within yourselves. So again, that's a different level of preparation.
Yeah.
So that was a course called Train the Trainer. And the latest course is the one that we did together. And it's an online course called Speak and Inspire. With Speak and Inspire, I learned how to communicate my message.
Yeah.
So this thing about being a speaker has quite a few layers.
Yeah.
You know, a diversity of skills that you have to practice and that you have to give it some thought and some consideration. And as anything, as any skill, you know, the more you do, the better you get at it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that's what's really important for anyone that is a new speaker it's one thing to undertake training, but unless you're actually doing something that requires that training to be put into action, such as, you know, I myself have not done Toastmasters, but I know a lot of people that have, and the idea that it gives you the opportunity to step in front of people and practice a certain style of skill in the delivery of a message, you know, that it's just critical. And one of the things that's really important to the creation of the Speakers Initiates is we don't provide, or I certainly cannot claim in any way, shape or form to be a speakers trainer for anyone who is looking for the training to use the Speakers Initiates platform. I do ask that everybody has had some form of training, some formal training of some kind. And, you know, some people tell me that Toastmasters is not training, but it depends on how you view that. I personally think it gives you awesome training, but it just may not be in the formal sense that people perceive. But any form of education that you receive about how to speak as a professional speaker is fantastic. But then you've got to have a platform to deliver. I mean, where do you go to present your message if there isn't an opportunity to present it? And I guess the thing with that is I wanted to give people that were invested in themselves as speakers the platform to hone their message and hone their skills. So it's not really a practice, because I take this quite seriously, and I think we all do. Everybody that's presented so far, to one degree or another, has seen how important this is. That, yeah, the first message may be a bit bumpy, and you might say things that are not quite how you practice them, and you might forget something, and you might, like I did, forget the words and pause and feel completely clumsy in trying to say something that isn't what you practiced. And the first time round is always a bit awkward. But as we've just discussed, when you get that opportunity to present again and present again, it really does let you hone that sense of competence and confidence that allows you to feel comfortable in front of the people, no matter who or how many people are in the room. So I just think it's really important that the resources that you mentioned are valuable, and it's then the opportunity to apply them. And I think any time that you get an opportunity to apply the skill is can only be for the better of what your, you know, your aspirations as a speaker are all about. So yeah, I totally hear what you're saying on that one. So next question. Forgive me, my technology is giving me a little bit of grief here today, so I'm having some difficulty with the internet. All right, so I think we've got the next question on my screen here. Okay, great question that you picked out here. Why do you participate in the Speakers Initiate's Key Talks Inspiring Change?
Well, as I've been saying before, there are different layers to this question again. Initially, when I joined you, it was an opportunity for me to get before a real audience. I've mentioned this to you quite a few times. Back then, I didn't have the guts to gather an audience myself.
Yeah.
You know, even though I don't have any issues speaking in public, right? I didn't have the courage to invite my people and deliver a talk.
Yeah.
That was absolutely scary for me. So having the opportunity to have a crowd already there for me, mind you, I did have a few guests.
Oh, you certainly did. Yeah.
To support me, but you know, it wasn't all my people. So having more people out there that didn't know me, and not having the pressure to create the event, to organize everything, to find the venue, etc. I think there was, you know, there was a big plus for me. I could not refuse that opportunity.
Yeah.
I did admire your courage for putting yourself out there, and I did appreciate, you know, the opportunity that you offered me to come along with you in the journey.
Yeah.
So that was my initial intention. Now, from the second time I spoke, and now moving into the third time, it is more than that. So it's more about my message than about myself. And it's about, again, having the opportunity, having the resources, having the audience to keep having this conversation. And the funny thing is that you never know who you get to meet in these events.
Yeah, totally.
And you know, you make some connections, and an idea pops up, and you follow that through. So it is a development process. It has been a development process for me, but also an opportunity to really engage with the message that I am delivering. And when I say engage, it's about, you know, connecting with people, understanding my message, getting deep into diversity and inclusion. What does it mean? You know, what do people feel? What do they think when we talk about diversity and inclusion? So, the reason why I keep coming to Speakers Initiate is because my experience keeps expanding and is only in a good way. So yeah, I can't be happier about that.
Fantastic. I really appreciate that, Fabiola. And I think you've nailed something on the head there. One of the things that's really blown me away with these events is the people who are willing participants in the audience. So we often have regulars in the audience, which is fantastic. And also the speakers themselves. It's amazing how we have developed some really, really powerful connections. And I must admit, the number of people that I've connected with since I created these events has been phenomenal. It is just amazing who, not only people that have just wanted to contact me and tell me that what I'm doing is really valuable, which obviously feels good to hear that, but given that really wasn't why I was doing You know, I'm certainly not in this to get the praise. I'm in this because I really believe in sharing the message. And the whole experience regarding this is, like you say, it's about inclusion, diversity, connection. It's about being able to touch the lives of people. And it's no longer about us as speakers, it's about our message. And I think that's really, really critical for everyone to understand. I'm really strongly putting the message out there with the Speakers Initiate's key talks, inspiring change, which is why we've come up with that phrase, is really about trying to change the way we communicate and connect with each other, to take away that exclusivity or divisiveness that seems to be pervasive in our world at the moment. I want to make it okay for us to be more inclusive again. And our messages are about that. Everyone that speaks at the Speakers Initiates has a message that is around inclusivity of in some way, shape or form. And it's really important that our messages are heard, not because we want to be heard so much, but because our messages are designed and we're passionate about delivering messages that really can change the lives of others, which is also why in our vision statement, it's voices for the voiceless. And that doesn't mean that there are people out there who can't talk at all. It means that we represent people that are in situations or circumstances who need that person who's got the courage to step up and do the work so that they can be heard. And that's sometimes what this is about. And I appreciate that you've mentioned that, you know, it took me to have that courage to put an event together. I didn't know that it was courage. I just thought I'm just ridiculously cocky sometimes and sometimes willing to take silly risks, just simply because I enjoy the emotion and the energy that goes with that. But I also like playing with outcomes, and it's like, well, what if I did that? What if? And it's the what if that lets you explore, you know, the possibilities. And now this what if has become a platform for speakers like yourself, myself, and the many that we've had so far, whose messages are really designed to reach out and touch people in the community in a way that inspires and encourages and empowers and educates, because I want people to feel a really warm, fuzzy feel good when they're in the room. And I think you'd be the first person to easily support me when I say, isn't there a fantastic energy in the room during that break time between the two speakers when we're having our tea and coffee and refreshments? Isn't that energy amazing?
Absolutely. I totally second that idea. Look, and probably that's one of the highlights of the event. You know, there are other aspiring speakers in there that want to learn about our journey. There are some people in there interested in our message, and there are some other people just interested in helping out. And that is a really good space for forming those connections and talking about, you know, something that is important for us. So yeah, probably one of the best parts of the event. Absolutely great atmosphere.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere. I'm often on a high for 2 or 3 days after the events, just recounting in my head, oh, what a great conversation that was. I really love that energy. Wasn't that speaker really good? And it's really sincere. It's really heartfelt, because that is the energy. And you know, there are speakers that are going to probably take a few moments to listen to this particular key conversation, who've presented before and had their own key conversation with me, who would echo exactly what we're talking about, the sense that it's just such a really valuable, energized experience to be in the room. And that's why I really love the idea of sharing these conversations now that we're having, just to encourage more people to want to come along and feel that energy and just be part of it. It's, you know, if nothing else, I'm really proud that the people who give their time to these events, we're all volunteers, absolutely all volunteers, but we do it because it really is a little community, and I want to expand that community, and our messages are all about that. But yeah, it's an experience. There's no doubt about that.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, last question I think we've got, And what steps do you take to promote yourself as a speaker? I know you've been pretty active lately, which has been fantastic. So tell us about that.
Well, one of the things that I realized when I started doing, my speaking journey is that nobody's going to come and knock on my door and ask me to join them. I was in a networking event last week, and one of the speakers, so there was a panel, and one of the panel members said something that really resonated with me. We all have heard that thing about is who you know, yes? That makes a difference. But one of the things that she said is not only who you know, but who knows you.
Yeah.
Which is very important. On the back of that, she also mentioned that it is very important to do good work, but it's also very important to let people know that we are doing great work. So meaning that even if we do something fabulous, if we don't tell people what we're doing, well, not many people will know about that.
Yeah.
And I think, we need to take responsibility for that. Yes, we have to promote ourselves. And I don't think that is about having tickets on yourself, but when you do it for the right reasons, when you do it on behalf of your message or on behalf of your cause, then it is a good way to do that. How am I doing it? Well, I network in groups that are aligned with my values, my message, my beliefs. I'm active in LinkedIn. I comment on posts that I think are aligned with my message.
Yeah.
I also take any opportunity to introduce myself to people in the area. And the latest thing that I've done, as I mentioned from the beginning, is to start these migrant professional women mentoring program. And that has brought me so many connections and so many experiences. And again, I'm highlighting my message or my community. And in a way, that's putting me. So, it's not only who you know, but who knows you.
Yeah.
So I am making myself known for the things that I do for my community. And I'm doing that on social media. I'm doing that on my workplace. I'm doing that with my friends. So taking any opportunities, making that part of your life, making that part of who you are, of your identity, embracing that new thing that is part of you, and wear it as a badge of honor, and again, this is something that is been growing on me. Seeing myself as a speaker, seeing myself as the deliverer of this message, and do it with passion, do it with confidence, do it with pride.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, I think at the beginning I don't know if I was scared or if I was shy or if I've never been embarrassed, but it's that thing that protective, probably that will be the right word. I just don't want people to know yet until I'm good enough.
I remember we had that conversation, yes.
Yes, and now I feel that out. I'm proud. and I'm embracing this part of me. I'm embracing this part of who I chosen to be, this part of my identity. And doing that through, you know, all of the things that I do.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I myself have been, one of the things I get a chance to experience, and I was about to say it in relation to you, but it's not just the experience that I've seen with you, because you've had the previous 2 speaking opportunities which have just shown different sides to your skill sets that you've obviously, as you say, you've been developing. And there was that, perhaps, the anxiety about letting people know that you were actually a speaker and owning it. And I noticed that. But what I was about to say was, one of the things I get a real buzz out of with these events is seeing the transformation in the people who take to the microphone. Honestly, there's nothing like watching that experience, because I get to interview you, talk with you, speak with you all beforehand, and then I see you take to the microphone, and then I see the after effect, and I noticed you've transformed amazingly. I'm really proud of all of the things that you have done and the steps that you've taken, the initiative, not just to put your hand up and be one of the speakers for the Speakers Initiates and take the opportunities, but what it's done for you, and the confidence that is there for you is amazing. And not only that, you've now stepped up to become the founder of the Migrant Women's Professional Resource Group, the group that you're supporting, the mentoring. You're doing an amazing thing to help people. And I don't know that I would have seen that as who you were when we first met. But that's what this is all about, is that just sometimes we just need that one person to give us the foot up. And that's enough for us to then see ourselves in a different light. I mean, I had that opportunity, and that's why it was okay for me. I presented the first 3 events that we had, and obviously because I really didn't know that we had anything that we were building on, and the people that were there to support us were pretty amazing, and there are still some of those supporters that are still with us, which is just even more amazing. But what's interesting about that is that once the word got out that, and I was sharing that message a lot to invite people to be speakers in this group, and I was able to step aside and let others be the people holding the microphones, and I just host and provide some of the external support. It's amazing to be able to step back and watch the people take to the microphone and the transformations that are taking place in the group. And that's really one of the reasons why I wanted to create this, is because sometimes we just need that 1 foot of support, that 1 foot up, and, you know, that leg up to get us to the place where we want to be. So, you know, the transformation is evident in you, which is fantastic. And that's why I've given people like you the opportunities, because you invest in yourself. Even though it might seem a little bit nerve-wracking at times and a bit overwhelming, just daring to put your hand up sometimes is enough, and then just let the other people around you support you to get you there. And that's what we do. And I think I can't take full credit for that at all. It is a group thing, it's a community thing, and we're also invested in just making sure that it's not just about the speakers in this group either. We really care about the audience having a really good experience, and we're there for the audience. Isn't that the case?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. We wouldn't be speakers if we didn't have an audience.
Absolutely.
As simple as that. So, and I say this for myself, but I have seen it in other speakers. When we show up to talk, we do it for the audience.
Yeah.
Yes, we there, of course, we show up as ourselves and to improve ourselves and to grow, but when we start talking, it's then about them, it's not about us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's exciting. So November 27th, which is a Wednesday evening from 7 p.m. So there'll be you, and there'll also be your fellow speaker, Rianne, who will be our next key conversation, which is taking place tomorrow. Now, the exciting thing about it is that it's Social Inclusion Week, And the topics are obviously about social inclusion and diversity and what it's like to welcome people into the community and to be part of a connected lifestyle. So the overall message is really going to be powerful. I'm looking forward to it. So if anyone wants to connect, all they need to do is just check out the links that will be supplied with this video once it's loaded to the internet, and they can contact either Fabiola or myself, because we both have the details about the event. And we are looking forward to seeing everybody in the room on the night. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. Everybody welcome. And we love the support that we get from the people that come and share with those moments. So please join us. It will be fantastic seeing some new faces, some familiar faces, some friends.
Yeah, definitely.
So bring somebody along with you.
Yeah.
It is a great opportunity.
Yeah,
it is a great opportunity.
Yeah, it really is. And just so that people know the format of the night, when you show up, there's this, if you arrive in time between 7 and 7:30, there's that first opportunity just to make the few informal connections and just feel comfortable in the room. Then from 7:30 to 8 o'clock is our first speaker. Then we have that really special time. It's that 8 until 8:30 time frame, which is our breakout time, where we have time for tea and coffee, refreshments. There's time to stand around and have conversations. And as we've mentioned, that is a really valuable time. It's part of the energy in the room. It's just really contagious. It's fantastic. And then we go from about 8:30 till 9 with the second speaker, and then we finalise the rest of the event. And we actually, share, exchange any telephone numbers and things when people are always busy trying to connect with each other. So it's a really easy format. It's from 7 p.m. through until around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we look forward to seeing you in the room and can't wait for November 27.
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic.
We'll see you there.
All right. Fantastic, Fabiola. Great talking with you, and we will catch up again.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Fantastic. All right. Bye-bye.